everyone, and welcome to Story Mode Video Edition. My name is Faith, and this is my Variety Gaming YouTube channel, and today we are going to embark on an attempt to complete the storyline from the Return to Moria Durin's Folk campaign expansion. If you are joining us for this game for the first time right now, I highly encourage you to check out the live streams that are now recorded videos in this playlist. Because to be perfectly honest, I am not focusing on gameplay, any mechanics, any game progression outside of the storyline for this DLC moving forward. So if you want more information about the Return to Moria game, how it works, what it's all about, this video and the ones that follow will not get you that information. So again, check out the beginning of the playlist where I talk in detail for far too long about the mechanics of the DLC and how I feel about them. From here on out, we are focusing exclusively on the story beats of this expansion. One more disclaimer at the front of this video: it will most likely contain spoilers for The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. It will definitely contain spoilers for the Durin's Folk campaign expansion, so you have been warned. Enjoy the video. Okay, you guys, here we are back in Michael Delving. It's like coming home, isn't it? It's been a while since we've spent any time with Bjorn, but here he is patiently waiting for us. And again, like I said, this video and the ones that come after, we are simply following up with the storyline from the Durin's Folk campaign expansion. So we are here in the Delving just to remind ourselves of what's going on. So far, the story beats of importance are that a monster called Durin came and started snatching dwarves with no explanation, no backstory, and no context. But he showed up and he started snatching dwarves out of my company. We had to jump through a few hoops in order to track him and then defeat him in his own lair, which we have done. During that entire excursion, we discovered that Vor the Wanderer was also a bit of a suspicious character because he continues to steal items of significant value and doing with him what he wants, namely the Khazad Stone, which he stole from King Thorin, currently High King under the mountain in Erebor, and then later stealing from us, the Lord of Moria, our worn ring, which was acquired when we beat the final boss for the original campaign playthrough. Both the Khazad Stone and the worn ring do carry significance in the storyline, but regardless of how important they are, our friend keeps stealing these things from us. When we discovered that Vor had taken our ring, it was actually at the secret workshop of Celebrimbor, which we discovered in Narvi's Forge in the Elven Quarter, and then taking additional excursions we found that Khazad Dûm is being infiltrated by a new breed of orc, Gundabad orcs. Not to be confused with the Gundabad orcs we already have in the original playthrough. These are newer, stronger, badder, and meaner. And Vor believes that they were actually drawn because of the worn ring. Now, the worn ring was found in certain circumstances, and according to the original lore, should be one of the discarded rings of power given to the 7 dwarf lords. Even though the ring has showed no purpose, power, or significance of any kind during this entire game, it is now apparently able to draw enemies from distant lands. That being said, when Vor realized that the ring was more of a threat than a help to him, he demanded that we now hide it and lock it up very securely to make sure that no evil comes upon us. And I think that without going into too much detail, those are the points of the story that we have really encountered so far, the only ones that really matter to know about, and I think we can carry on from here. So, that being said, our next objective is, of course, to seal away that ring, and we are going to do so by building a new monument that unlocked as soon as our need became clear, and that is this vault monument that is now in stage 2 of production. So the Vault of Khafrun Unshi is here. It is in stage 2, which means it's in its last stage to completion.
Kill this dwarf.
So that is our status with the story as far as that ring goes. Now let's go talk to Arik, our friend from Erebor, and see what he has to say, because he's had a word bubble for a while and I'm hoping that he has some good information for me. He says, new orcs from Gundabad hunting your old ring. Build the vault, lock it up, thwart them. Okay, so this is just confirmation of everything I just shared, that the ring is drawing these new orcs to us, and that the vault we are now building is our means of sealing it away to keep everybody safe. And that is all the input that our Raven friend has for us today. As I've said before, I am not going to be sharing a lot of gameplay as far as what I'm going to do in the meantime while we're waiting for things to be built and crafted. I'm going to edit those parts out. They do have to be played. You will not be able to jump ahead, time travel forward, or force time to move in any direction in any significant way. You will just have to wait for these things to develop when you play the game for yourself. But I have the magic of editing at my disposal, and so that's how I'm going to play it. I will mention really quickly that the development team did release an update very recently to help work out some of the additional kinks with the DLC, the gameplay, some of the bugs that we've been experiencing. So definitely check out your game on whatever platform you're playing it on and make sure you upgrade to the latest patch. One of the things I remember on the patch notes was that the amount of goods needed for trade, I believe, was reduced. So I'm going to go ahead to Holland and see what the traders are asking for these days. Something that I do want to unlock for myself in between story beats is the marble building set, the red clay building set, and the ancient building set. So I'm going to be spending my in-between time trading to unlock these recipes. Alrighty, I just want you guys to know that you missed like a good half hour or more of trading post goodness. I organized my storage a little bit. A lot of good times happening in between these important moments, but point of the story is, guys, we finished the monument that we were waiting on to seal our worn ring. So this is the next step. So let's reveal our monument with a song.
Unparalleled form and function.
Take a look at our lovely new monument. Very lovely, very secure. I don't think we have to do anything with it. I think as soon as the monument is built, that's all she wrote. Let me check my inventory. Yeah, I am no longer showing the ring, which was actually hanging out at the bottom. It was below all of my armor. So my circular armor slots, there was one way down at the bottom at that last row of squares, storage squares, that was showing the ring, and now it's not showing it. So I want to say all's well that ends well. Let's go see who we need to talk to resolve this moment in time. Arik has another thought bubble. Let's talk to him. He says the ring is locked safe in a vault, out of reach of danger. Now all will be good forever. Arik and his positivity. My character says, every time you make such proclamations, I get a nervous rash. Oh, too accurate. Okay, so I did have an objective that told me to talk to him, so let's talk to him again. Vor went back to the ring forge. Drawn there he was. I said, I suspected as much. Whatever his aim, we must stop this madness. I'm starting to recognize a dangerous pattern here. So Vor went back to the ring forge. Drawn there he was. The ring forge. I wonder if that's referencing Celebrimbor's secret workshop. Let's see if there's anything in my objectives here. Word has reached of urgent news. I must track down the Raven. I mean, he's right here. Okay, so he said War was in the ring forge. He still has a bubble. Let's talk to him again. It's because I don't know how to properly execute conversations in this game. Recover the ring. Okay, now I have an entry. So it's very important. I'm gonna say this out loud just in case anyone is as goofy as I am. When you have open dialogue with a character, there will be a button that says A. It'll be prompted A in the menu, and it'll just be your response. And so what I keep doing is backing out of the dialogue window without hitting A. And so when I don't acknowledge the conversation by hitting A, the next thing doesn't unlock. I'm just backing out of the conversation. So it's like, it's a silly thing that I do. Don't do that. Hit A. To complete the conversation, and then you'll get some good information. Okay, so allegedly, recover the ring, go to the expedition table and travel to find the missing ring. With War missing, I've turned to Arik to help find him. To my surprise, it seems the Wanderer took the ring back to the secret forge. Okay, so we built this monument. Arik just told us the ring was sealed and safe, but now I'm being told that Vor took the ring again, and he's taken it to, I believe, Celebrimbor's secret forge, because we have to use the expedition table to get there. So that must be it. I'm a little confused. It could be my fault. I might be engaging with dialogue like in the wrong order, but I'm not sure how Arik confirmed this ring was sealed and safe, and then all of a sudden it's been taken. Where did I put my expedition table? Does anybody know? I remember moving a bunch of things to make way for this monument, and I don't see the table anywhere else. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna build an expedition table real quick. I think that'll be the easiest solution. I don't seem to have one around, so we'll do this just for now. Okay, and then we have the... There we go. Somewhere in the Misty Mountains. Okay, so we've come here before. I'm going to be very interested to see if I need to break my way into the mountain again, or if it's still open because we had to mine our way through to begin with. Okay, so it is resealed. This is another mithril heavy location, so if I really had any room to store any more mithril, which to be honest, of course, I have room to store mithril, but I'm not worried about it, so I'm not gonna do that. So we gotta break our way back into the workshop, excuse you. Roar is in here doing something to the ring, it sounds like.
He has the ring. What is he doing?
Oh, a horde is coming.
Dogs in the deep. They are coming.
How lovely.
No matter his ambitions, we must protect our friend.
Okay.
We got orcs.
Here they are. So my character just... Wait, how do you play this game again? Wait, hold on. It's okay. How do I... There we go. How do you play this game again? He just said I don't know his ambitions, but we've got to protect our friend. So we're going to fight the horde, obviously, because we have to. Do you guys notice the projectiles that they are shooting have this weird orangey glow to them? That is, for lack of a better word, I don't know what it's actually called, but I'm calling it corruption. So these are those bigger, badder orcs from Gundabad that are somehow worse than the original Gundabad orcs that we had here. And they've got this like corruption, they've got the status on them, so kind of like the shadow orcs. They do a bit of additional damage due to this like status they have on their weapons and themselves.
That's a one more for
and,
me.
my armor is kind of out, but you know, I don't have a repair smithy. Oh, thank goodness. Oh. What just happened? Did you guys see that? Sir?
Cheers!
Cheer. The perkiness of this guy. This is a test I have long dreamt I would fail. My visions were confused. In some, I wore the ring and darkness enveloped me. In others, I smashed the ring. I had to discover which dream was real and my fate. So I ask, have you? Do you know your true self? We'll carry on. Hit A to engage with the conversation. He says, I remain the son of Everard Luin, a wandering dwarf, but there might be another tale still to tell. I must look upon the mountains and think on my fate at the peak of Xeroxagil. I say, yours is a lonely burden. When you are ready, let us speak again. I can't with this. Okay, let me go pick up all my goodies. Oh, I can't. I'm trying to save my overall summation of how I feel about the story elements in the expansion until we're properly through it. But it's really hard to come across these moments because I kind of want to address how much in the moments things just don't make sense. And that really gives me pause. I will say just right now, I'm not a fan of the storyline, and I love this game, and I love everything that has been done and the work that has gone into it, but the story elements of the expansion are truly very poorly thought out and executed, in my opinion, and this is one of them, and I'll go ahead and address it in brief here, and then we'll revisit it later. I just want to address it in the moment. This guy's been stealing from us. This guy has been deceiving people. Not only myself, Lord of Moria, but the king under the mountain. He's been just mysterious and quiet, and all of a sudden he steals my ring again, and now he destroys it. As if it's his to destroy, you know, it's just like, what do you mean, dude? So he's saying, I had these dreams, and this is what he's been telling us since we met him. He says, I have dreams or I have visions. And due to these visions and dreams and whatever he's having, this is what's causing him to make these decisions. So he's saying, I've been having this dream where I use this ring, which, friendly reminder, this ring has no power associated with it. It has never shown any hint of having any residual power, any residual influence over anybody, especially during the main playthrough. And to be fair, if you're thinking about the timeline of the original campaign and now the expansion, not a ton of time has passed since we acquired this ring, but only when he assumed, Roar, this crazy dude, assumed that these stronger orcs were being drawn to that ring. Did we even remember the ring existed? Did we even think that maybe there was some significance to it? So it's tough, because I think it would have made more sense if the ring had been treated less like an Easter egg and more like a potential plot line. Like when we had come across it, if it had still been if it had been more like the one ring. Now, these rings are lesser and we know that. But if it had been like shiny, if it had been, there had been some notation when we picked it up of like, oh, it has this like maybe ominous noise or this glow about it or this energy that kind of pulses from it. And we didn't have to do anything with it then. It could just still be what it was. I feel like that would play into this a lot more. We kind of picked up this ring and promptly forgot about it because there was nothing special about it whatsoever. I personally, when I first played through the campaign, and I said this in that playthrough, this is just an Easter egg that references the lore. And it's an accurate lore piece, but that's all it is, because that's the impression I was given. So I think we were trying to be sneaky and surprising and like bring that full circle later. I feel like it's a very empty gimmick to do it that way. I think it would have been better and built more suspense and more interest if the ring had seemed like something of value. At the very least, something of value, even if it wasn't something powerful, that we knew that in the future we need to reconcile. So anyways, beside the point of the ring, if I understand correctly, which I feel like I'm going to turn around and talk to Arik and he's going to tell me the ring is like back in the vault or something. I'm pretty sure Vor just destroyed it. I think that's what that explosion was at the end of the battle. So he is basically, they're pulling the Lord of the Rings here and saying, I could have used this ring to be stronger, to be more powerful, to use it for my good, but my vision showed me that I would be consumed in darkness. So the alternative that I was shown was to destroy the ring and be free of its influence or whatever. So not very unique, not very imaginative, very repetitive storyline here. But he did his thing, and instead of Bjorn, my dwarf, saying anything about, hey, that was my ring, or do you like need help? Like, do we need to take you to the elves? Like, you've got something going on, dude. So like, instead of questioning all of this behavior, instead of being suspicious, instead of being angry, Bjorn just says, oh, well, did you figure out who you really are now? Like, at what point have we even understood that Roar was like a mystery character whose identity needed to be revealed? I will go back through a lot of the dialogue pieces that contain lore. I will be going through the appendices because a lot of the arguments I'm going to make for or against the storyline will be there. Perhaps, I think when we first meet him, it's like, oh, he's a mysterious character. We don't really know where he comes from. But now there's significance around him discovering who he is. And it just feels very like this was not the event that would get us there. He stole a ring and he destroyed it. That doesn't seem to be the segue into like, oh, you're you're now confiding in me that you have an identity crisis and you're not really sure about your lineage and all of that. Now, we did have a conversation with the emissary, and the emissary told us that this guy claims to be descended from Thorin Oakenshield, and that the emissary himself doubts those claims. So I'm not going to pretend like this is completely out of nowhere, that there's no context around who Vor actually is. There is a little bit, but basically this turn of feelings and events and interaction being like, oh, poor buddy, you just stole my stuff, but like, oh, do you feel better? Like, did you figure it out? Like, it just doesn't seem like a natural progression, so I don't really like it. I wish that there was more time and nuance applied to that. So anyways, you guys, did I say speak about this briefly? Okay, he's gonna disappear on us. He says he's gotta go look at the mountains or something and think, so we're gonna let him do that. I'm gonna eat some lembas before I die of starvation. We're gonna get the heck out of here. This friendly reminder is an expedition. This is not, like, part of the world. So I can't build or do anything useful in here, so I can't, build a repair smithy or do anything like that. Looks like I do have to break down some more stuff to get out of here, though. So I just want to go back to Michael Delphing and repair my armor, because I got depleted from that little skirmish with those orcs. But yeah, so let's go back to the delving from here. Alrighty, here we are back home. I guess we'll try to talk to Arik. I did get an objective when we said goodbye to Vor, so I will see what that says. But yes, Arik has dialogue again as well. And as you guys can pick up. Arik really is the one that's kind of keeping us moving forward. He's got information to keep us progressing. And in the original... Oh, my cook is here.
Smiles on us today.
My cook has just not been here for a while, so that's exciting news. Side note. But Arik is... I just check in with Arik. This is what you need to do to kind of keep things moving forward. That... I can't stand the NPCs. Okay, the Wanderer remains in Durin's tower, deep in thought, motionless. I say I will speak to him. Arik says our fates may be tied to that mysterious dwarf. And I say your lack of confidence is alarming. Alright. These noisy NPCs can do what they gotta do. I'm gonna go over here and heal up my armor. What time is it? It is nighttime, so they're probably gonna go to bed soon. I'm okay with that. I'm gonna check my delve chest really quick to see what they've been working on. So I will catch up with you guys. It sounds like at Durin's tower to have another conversation with Vor the Wanderer. Alright, you guys, here we are on Durin's tower. Long time no climb. And we are looking for Vor the Wanderer. Fortunately for you guys, I know exactly where he is. And he may be able to answer a few questions that we've had about this area. Moving forward. So let's head out to this beautiful, beautiful place. And talk to this guy yet again. He says, "Hello, friend. I hope I can call you that after all I have put you through. I appreciate a little acknowledgement here. I've been pondering all there is to see of Middle-earth. As much as I adore these 3 peaks, there is much more to the world. And I am going to ask him, do you want to know what I think? He says, I have a notion, my mind will not believe it, and my heart is not ready. I say, ready is exactly what you need to be. He says, there's so much more to learn and discover before I can hope to be." We're talking about being ready. We're building up to something here. Okay, then I say, truths are not to be avoided indefinitely. Aule knows we need you, Durin. He says, I don't believe that, and I will not claim that name. I am no prince. I am from a distant branch of his line. I am no king's son. I am fated to wander. That is my place. I say, ha! There is a way, as simple as a song. He says, you can't possibly mean that tavern song. This question is more complex than a nursery rhyme and drunken merrymaking. I say the simplest songs can contain deep truths. I will prepare the test. Okay, I have so many things to say about this, but point of the story is, this is the story of this game, and this guy is allegedly Durin the Seventh, aka Durin the Deathless, reincarnated. For some reason, my character is seeing that as the resolution of all his weirdness. Hey, you must be Durin the Last. And he's like, nope, no way, not me. I'm related to the lion, but that's it. I'm not the son of the king. He's really fighting it, right? And so the implication is that he kind of has the sneaking suspicion that he is this big important person. But he doesn't want to be. He wants to be a wanderer, he wants to continue to travel, and his whole point here is, I'm not ready. So my character is telling him, we have a test to make that can prove whether you are in fact Durin the Deathless returned. So there is a test that involves a song, because of course it involves a song. And I just said, hey, I'm going to prepare the test. So, let's see what information I have gathered. Find and talk to Vor the Wanderer. Once he destroyed the ring, it is clear this wanderer is no ordinary dwarf. He would have much to think about. It is time to find out who he is, once and for all. I don't have a thing prompting me to do anything about preparing the test, so let me talk to him one more time. This is a repeat of the dialogue we just went through, and I want to make sure that I pushed A.
Next, let us perform Durin's test from that song in the taverns.
Which I didn't. Because I love to not follow through with conversations in this game and then be really confused about what I'm supposed to do next. Okay, so I guess the elements of this test are handed down technically in an oral generation. I'm sorry, oral, what's the word? Tradition. Not generation, tradition. And in the form of a song. So let's see what we need to do. Prepare for the test. Rebuild the circle of Zabad Durinal atop Durinal's tower. It's hard to believe, but that silly tavern song speaks of a test to prove someone is Durin returned. And this strange ruin in Durin's tower resembles the crude oath circles used in the Dwarven family inheritance and marriage rituals. This must be the place for the test. Okay. Excuse me, so where we are is apparently really important, and if you guys remember a long time ago when we started exploring, I think it was the first episode of this playlist, when we were exploring the Durin's Folk expansion, we came across this ruin, this whole area, right? And came across this ruin, and it didn't do anything, it didn't respond to anything, and I was like, what is it, what is it? Well, this is what it is, spoiler alert. It is the Circle of Zabad Durinal. So we need to rebuild this. This is in fact a monument, you guys. So I need 500 coastal marble and 100 ironwood, which I definitely don't have on my person. So we gotta go back to the delving, get those materials, come back and get this started. Now, this is in fact, like I said, a monument, which means I'm gonna need builders to come down here and build this monument of my NPCs. So I'm gonna have to build an actual delving, potentially a little work camp, so that they can come build this monument and then we can run this test. 500 coastal marble and 100... oh no. Adamant? What was it? What was it, you guys? I definitely have the materials. I just don't remember what all of it was. I'll just grab 100 of everything else. So, coastal marble. Thank you to Lionheart's Grand Warehouse and Armory, which, by the way, all useful links, videos referencing the lore that supports this game, the Lionheart's Grand House and Warehouse tour video that I made a while ago, that will be in the description, as well as the RTM Discord server invite link will be in my description. Guys, anything associated with this game or information around this game will be in the description of this video, just heads up. So I am using modded items and modded weapons from the warehouse, which is a player-made infinite resource of materials for this game. So I have all this marble, and it said 500. I'm just gonna grab the fat stack of 9.99 plus, and then ironwood? Was it ironwood, I think? I'm pretty sure it was ironwood. I'm so nervous. I want to say it was marble and ironwood. I'm pretty sure. Yes! Okay, here we go. There we go. Now, I have started this project, but I have no builders to put here, so we need to establish delving. And what I did last time was I built a little spot like right here. So you need like a hearth, and you need the... hold on, let me look at it. I forget what everything's called. It's been a while since I played this game. You need a hearth, and you need the rally stone. The center of a dwarven rally point. Build one to establish and manage a temporary delving for survivors or work encampments. Okay, so I'm gonna build a hearth. I'm gonna build a rally stone. And then I'm going to assign just 4 builders here, because 4 builders is the maximum that you can have at a time in a particular delving. But before I do all of that, I am gonna take the time to clear this area up a little bit and build somewhat of a, like, livable space up here on the mountain. So I'm gonna take a minute, I'm gonna clear all of this out, build a nice little space for everybody, and then we'll go ahead, build that rally stone, and get some builders assigned to this area. Alright, you guys, it's not pretty, but it will service my staff here. So here are my builders. I also got them a cook, someone who's gonna make sure that they are getting fed, and supplied them with everything that they need, basically, except for ale, which I am working on. I just want to point out, I got all of this built and set up, and then I came over here because my builders weren't getting to it. And I noticed that we spent quite a bit of resources to instigate this monument, but to actually kick off phase 1 of building, I need even more material. So I'm just going to point out to you guys, ironwood, adamant, onyx quartz, and mithril ingots are going to be necessary to actually get this monument going. So that is a fun discovery I kind of just made, so letting you know. And I'm going to get all those materials, get these guys some ale, and hopefully see them getting to work. Alright, keeping an eye on my delving here. These guys are all safe and snug and provided for. So, ideally, they will be working on the monument, which you guys can see over here to the left. And at this point, you just gotta babysit. You gotta babysit these NPCs. I will say that since this last patch fix, I have been able to jump back and forth between this delving and Michael delving, and my NPCs are continually present at both delvings. If you guys remember, previously NPCs were vanishing out of their delvings, and it could just be because you went somewhere else in the world, in the mountain. But typically for me, it was jumping back and forth between delvings. They would kind of vanish. So it seems like this latest patch fixed that issue. So your NPCs should always be showing up. And if they are always present, the implication is they are always working. So that is something we need to continue to keep an eye on. So if I leave and go to Michael Delving, these builders should stay here and they should be building while I'm gone. And then vice versa, my craftsmen should be working in Michael Delving while I'm here. So time will tell if they are all working the way they should be, but at least they are all sticking around. And I will let you guys know when the monument is finished. All right, people. I have been actively recording all of this so that I could cut it down, as we've been talking about, and I've definitely been going for multiple hours at this point. This monument is finally completed here on Durin's tower, so without further ado, let us reveal said monument and let us deploy this test to confirm whether or not Vor the Wanderer is in fact Durin the Last, and dig a little bit into the lore of the game as it has been presented to us to explore these concepts a little bit, and then we will wrap things up. So I'm probably jumping the gun. There's probably like 18 more things we have to do, but the monument is finished. So let's I wish I could be a little bit further away. Let's reveal this bad boy.
Hard work. Rewarded.
Okay. What a beautiful, what a beautiful structure. Oh, look at it. It's so magical. Prepare for the test. Prepare for the test. Okay. I mean, it says begin as I'm facing this beautiful thing right now. Let me check out my... Okay, so he's just chilling. He's got nothing new to say. Begin test. Right here at this platform. Let's just do it. Let's get this over with. That's the Khazad stone, I believe. Yep. Okay, big test, big trial. He's got to prove something.
He'll wander on from peak to shore, from surface green to mountain's core, when sure as roots beneath the snow, and spirits deep his heart will know, the moon and stars will twirl and trill, the streams will slip down the loving hill, and once he's gone and found his way, the world will sing on Jordan's day. The world will sing on Durin's day, and once he's gone and found his way, the world will sing on Durin's day.
Kamahal Aramu. I am Durin, reawakened yet not ready. I have seen what I must do, and it will take more wandering. You were right about me. You, the Dragon Slayer, the legend Wayfarer, have resettled Moria. It is ready. I am not. These mountains, these dwarves are in good hands. Stay and lead. When I return, we will leave the name Moria and be Khazad-dûm again. Durin has woken, but not returned. No more will we say, Takfa Durin Kudrir.
Is that it? Are we done? Are we done chit-chatting? Okay. Okay, well, beautiful song. Durin, the Deathless, has returned. Huzzah. He doesn't want to run anything yet. He wants to go wander a bit more. Implied that he had some things to do that might have been important. So, guys, that's it. That's literally the entire. Okay, so, oh my gosh, it's insane. Let's look at our menu before I go off. So it said I had unlocked. Oh, red sandstone. I was doing that while I was waiting for this to be built. I did get the red sandstone building set recipe, but that's not what we're looking for. Under crafting menu, it said I have the ability to craft something new. Let's see what's highlighted. Gimli's 4th Age Axe, a powerful great axe of the type crafted for the Lord of the Glittering Caves. That is Gimli, son of Gloin. Charge for an upward slash that hews chunks of health from large targets. So tier 6, still two-handed and tier 6, so it's not necessarily a higher tier than any other weapon we have in the game right now, but it's fancy. It's real fancy, and it's a two-handed one, so if you like a combat with two-handed, I prefer a one-handed. But yeah, so we've unlocked Gimli's 4th Age Axe. I saw a cosmetic as well. So, you know what I think it is? I think this is when I unlocked this, but no, why would I have it now? Oh, you know what it is, you guys? Okay, I forgot. So, you can have multiple save files in this game at the same time. I probably have this cosmetic skin that I've been wearing this whole time, because in my other world, I did complete all of this, which is why I know what's happening. So, it is this outfit. It is Gimli's outfit that becomes available at this point in the game. So, this outfit that I've been wearing this whole time, you get this cosmetic skin. It's not an armor. It has no stats associated with it. It's just for looks, but it is the Lockbearer outfit. So, you do see that he has Galadriel's hair in that vial around his neck. I'm not sure what this crown is. I don't know if he's supposed to be holding on to Durin's crown or what, but you unlock that. Probably is, honestly, because you unlock this at this point, so we know that Durin the Deathless has indeed returned, and we know that he will come back and take up the throne of Khazad-dûm, and we are still the steward, the Lord of Moria, at the moment. So that is what it is. So we unlocked Gimli's axe, we unlocked Gimli's outfit, and we already had his beard and his hair per the DLC to begin with. Okay, so let's talk about this test. So the Khazad stone did come over here, and he put it very loosely. I feel like that's not very secure. He did put it in this monument, and it lit up a little bit, but like here's the thing, you guys. How is this any kind of test? That he just stood there, or kneeled, respectfully, while I sang a song. He didn't sing the song. It's not like he had to know the words. Arik flew down, stood next to him. I don't feel like that's... Arik stands next to me all the time. I don't feel like that's signifying that he is in fact Durin. Like, I don't get it. I don't get what the test was. I don't get what we just proved. He just kind of accepted it. And I sang a song. So, you guys tell me in the comments, what am I missing? I'm just being a dum-dum, and, like, I just don't understand. Like, explain it to me like I am a baby. Because I do not understand how that was even a test to prove that he was Durin the Deathless. Okay, and then let's dig into a little bit, just a little bit of the information that we've been given, okay? So, let's look at the Khazad stone information. I won't go through the whole thing of us finding the stone. That was a whole process. The Book of Uzumar, I think, is the one that tells us that Nain took it to fight the Balrog and, like, all of this stuff. So I think the important thing is the story of the Khazad stone is a piece of information here, a piece of lore. So I'm gonna look at this one. So the story of the Khazad stone, carved using the old Moria mode of the Kurth, is this description, the stone of the dwarves. That doesn't tell me anything. This is the quote about the stone, okay. The first stone mined and carved by Durin, the first of our fathers to wake. So Durin the first, the Durin, the guy, carved this. This is game-specific lore. The Khazad stone does not exist in Tolkien's universe. This is for the game specifically. So, claiming the Khazad stone, as Durin did settle Khazad Dûm, by Aule's design. Aule, again, is the Valar, the demigod, if you will, that created the dwarves. So Aule is kind of like their father god. And so, by Aule's design, the Khazad stone called him to the Mirror to carve his halls beneath these mountains. So the implication here is that when Durin, either Aule inspired Durin to make the stone, or when Durin made the stone, Aule imbued it with this kind of mystical drive. So by Aule's design, the Khazad stone created by Durin called him, that is Durin, to the Mirror to carve his halls beneath these mountains. So the implication here is that Aule influenced via the Khazad stone Durin the First to actually delve and establish Khazad Dûm. So the Khazad stone is being shoved real deep into like the very beginnings of this realm of Khazad Dûm. Okay. Here it shall remain, passed down his line, for only then will Durin awake again from sleep. For it is his duty, his honor, and strength to lead his people and keep the shadows at bay. Okay, so Durin the First created a tradition in which the Khazad stone was passed down from father to son. Or it says down his line. So we can loosen that grip a little bit and say nephews, cousins, like anyone who has like a direct lineage to Durin the First himself. So not even necessarily father to son. So this is the origin of the Khazad stone. Okay, and then I want to look at, it's not the Book of Uzmar. Let me double check my stuff. Okay, this is fun. A monument to Durin the First. Okay, I'm just going to quote it's part of the song that's kind of the foundation of this whole thing. Let me read the first part. This inscription is part of the Great Song of Durin, but there are lines here I have never heard before. So the person saying this, giving this like kind of subtext, is us. It's us as a main character. It's Bjorn, my character. Okay, so the lines that matter, the ones that they tacked on to the top of the song. Okay, the eldest of the seven fathers, he slept alone with our people's stone. When Durin woke and walked alone, he named the nameless hills and dells. He stooped and looked at Mirror and saw a crown of stars appear. Okay. So we know the whole song. We've heard it a million times now. So the story writers for this game decided to just tack on a sentence just to this song that is lore accurate. I think Gimli sings this song, if I remember correctly, at some point in the books, but they just added a little sentence. Okay, so the eldest of the seven fathers, that's Durin the First, he slept alone with our people's stone. Okay, so now this is implying that before Durin woke, okay, slight backstory, Aule created the dwarves, but they did not have life in them. They were just empty shells. Ilúvatar, who is like the Zeus of this pantheon of gods, the Valar, that's why I call the Valar demigods, because they're basically like all the other gods that are underneath Zeus, right? So Ilúvatar is like Zeus. He's the god of gods. Like, he's the one who calls the shots. So basically, without Ilúvatar's permission, Aule had created the dwarves because he loved the elves that Ilúvatar had created and wanted to make something similar. Ilúvatar found out that Aule created the dwarves without permission. And instead of being angry, he said, I recognize that you were just trying to do what I did, and you were intrigued by the creation itself. So this wasn't a malicious thing that Aule did, right? So Ilúvatar said, okay, you can keep your dwarves, but they cannot wake before the firstborn. The firstborn were the elves. So the dwarves were put into the mountains to sleep, to wake after the elves were first alive in Middle-earth. So this idea of he slept alone with our people's stone, this is directly referencing that Durin the First of the dwarven fathers to wake from the mountains. Now we're saying the stone was with Durin in the mountain, but the other thing we just looked at said he made it. Well, he didn't make it while he was sleeping in the mountain, so I promise you that. So anyway, a little weird. We don't really know where the Khazad stone came from. We don't know if it was like, because it said Aule designed it though. By Aule's design, the stone caused Durin to seek out Khazad Dûm and like go to the Mirror, which is, by the way, the Mirror is the lake right next to this mountain range here. So if you're not familiar with the lore, it's referencing a body of water. Was the stone with Durin? Did Aule create the stone and tuck it in with Durin into the mountain until he woke? Or did Durin carve the stone himself? It said that The one that we just read said that there was like a specific method that was used to make this stone. So I'm going to lean towards the concept that Durin actually made the stone and Ale just imbued it with something helpful to motivate him. So this is like two different stories. I don't know which to believe. Like, you've got to give a lot. I mean, this is Tolkien. Not everything's watertight. Like, I understand that. And this isn't Tolkien. This is the game developers writing the story. Let me clarify. But it is based off of an imperfect, although very good, not a watertight, but a very well thought out lore to begin with. So I'm not going to pretend that, like, Tolkien stuff is watertight, that there are no discrepancies. But, like, as far as writing a story based on that, this is basically fan fiction. This is two different stories about the origins of the Khazad stone, so I'm a little confused by that. I need to find a reference. I think it's the Book of Thomas. Okay, here we go. Here's what I was looking for. All right, so this is some ancestor who watched his father be obsessed about this stone. Okay, so this is just the tale of this son of his father that was once a king of Khazad-dûm. My father kept it secret, closer to him than his ring of power, given to him by Sauron. This puts a timestamp on things, okay? We never spoke of it, this relic of the First Age. That's accurate to the idea that Durin the First Age was a part of this. My Nan, my grandmother, told stories of awaiting her son, my father, holding this stone, hoping he would be in the likeness of Durin. Okay, this is written by King Nain. Correction. Now, this was the one reference that I had directly, and I kept harping on this during the playthrough, and you guys love me right now for this. You absolutely love it. The idea that the Khazad stone has this power, right? And we're going to talk about, there's more references in here, and I'm going to keep digging. There's more references in here about how closely the Khazad stone is aligned to the descendants of Durin, and therefore the king's lineage, therefore the rulership of Khazad-dûm, and specifically Durin the Deathless. Now, Durin the Deathless, for those who don't know, is a legend, and the idea is that from Durin the First, we have had 6 reincarnations. At this point, we have had 6 reincarnations of Durin the First. So the idea is that it's not, it's not a direct lineage, it doesn't seem like, according to this. It's not father to son, but many Durins name their son Durin, so on and so forth. This is the fanfiction. This is the developer's storyline here, saying the implication is this King Nain's grandmother said, I held the stone while I was giving birth, hoping that when my child was born, he would be in the likeness of Durin, aka he would be Durin reborn. So now the implication is the Khazad stone is kept in the family so that when women in the family give birth, there is a chance that the magic of the Khazad stone would render their newborn Durin reincarnated. Okay, so this is now this isn't saying that's exactly what this is. My Nan told me stories. Okay, literally old wives' tales here. So this isn't saying this is how it worked. This is saying, here's what I heard. So I'm going to give it that as well. This isn't saying, hey, if you have the Khazad stone and you have a baby, it's going to be Durin the Deathless reincarnated. Anyways, so that's the origin of the Khazad stone. 2 different stories. The Khazad stone being used during the birthing of dwarves in hopes that they would be Durin the Deathless reincarnated tells me, the player, that that's how it worked. Okay, so let's look at some other stuff here. Okay, ready? Will Durin never return? With me I kept the Khazad stone, in hopes that it would benefit our last stand. Now only too late, I realize its power lie not in strength, but in our future. It is a birthstone. Why was this kept secret even from me? Held by Durin's line, when calamity strikes, Durin is reborn. In my heart, I know we shall not survive, and the secret will die with us. Have I doomed all Khazad? So this is King Nain. He does not survive his confrontation with the Balrog. Shoot, I just realized the Khazad stone. My Nan told me these stories. The Khazad stone is a birth stone. It has to be in the possession of the descendants of Durin, so that when stuff gets tough, Durin the Deathless is reincarnated. Okay, so this is supporting Nan's story here. And this is telling us, here's how the Khazad stone works. It has to be in the possession of the line of Durin, or he will not be reborn. Am I crazy, or is this what we're saying here? Okay, so let's take this into account. So we've got a second thing. Waiting for Durin the Last. Is this the best thing I can do now? Okay, So waiting for Durin the Last, this is in reference to the end of the original campaign. When you beat the game, we return the Khazad Stone to King Thorin Stonehelm, King Thorin III, king under the mountain of Erebor, okay? So this is all part of the story that's already happened. So this is a note about those events. We actually experienced those as players. The Khazad Stone has been returned to Durin's line, that is Thorin III. That is why it has been so long since he awoke. Not just that the Balrog took him from us, but that the stone does have power to it. The king under the mountain will now hold it, awaiting the birth of a new Durin. It will be the last Durin, who will bring all the Khazad back to Khazad-dûm. I'm losing it. Okay. So, this is me. I believe this is your main character's POV. And I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna eat something real quick. Because my guy's gonna die and that's gonna interrupt our discoveries here. Okay. So this is like confirming the Khazad Stone needs to be with the line of Durin. So now that we've gotten the stone and given it back to Thorin, it is now back in the position, which means a child will be born. It literally says awaiting the birth of a new Durin. Okay? Now, from the time of Nain, which was the Balrog, which was how many years ago? Because between the Balrog taking over Moria, King Nain falling to the Balrog, the Fellowship going through Moria, Gandalf defeating the Balrog, to the point that we can come back. Balin comes back before the Balrog is destroyed by Gandalf, and then from the time that Nain died and the stone was with him in his grave, that's where we found it. At least decades, if not longer. I don't know the exact time frame, so I'm not going to act like I do. So much time has passed between King Nain and now. That stone has been in the ground in King Nain's grave this entire time. And to everyone's kind of talking about in this game, at the beginning of the game, Durin the Deathless has not returned. It's been, they quote it in the front of the game, 100 years or more than that. I can't remember what the trailer tells us. But he says, Gimli's doing this whole introduction, this narration, the front of the game. It says it's been hundreds, at least 100, if not hundreds of years since Durin the Deathless has returned. We need to go take Moria. I want to do it now. Everyone else wants to wait for Durin, but he's not coming back. So this whole game, the whole concept is built on this idea of Durin the Last returning to retake Khazad-dûm, okay? But the way that we establish this in-game is that the Khazad Stone is required for a child to be born as Durin the First reincarnate, which means the Khazad Stone has not been in the possession of the line of Durin for at least 100 years. You guys get where I'm right? He can't be Durin the Seventh because he could not have been born Durin the Seventh, because we just got the Khazad Stone back to the line of Durin 6 months ago, if you want to put a pretend timeline on the end of the original campaign and the expansion. So there's just this huge discrepancy in the story of there was no stone, no child could have been born Durin. At the front of the game, there was a big stink made about how Durin has not returned yet, so this is very real. And then we have 2 additional confirmations that this is a stone of birth, which means that the stone has to be present during the birth of a child for that child to thus be Durin reincarnate. Okay, so I'm just I'm so sad. Because unless I'm missing something really obvious, and I'm in here looking through all of this, I'm where did they tell me why this makes sense? There has to, because this team is so good and this game is so good, right? So here's my big fat beef with this storyline. It doesn't make sense because the Khazad Stone was nowhere near this guy Vor when he was born. It was in the depths of the mountain of Khazad-dûm. Okay, so now that and this is confirming, when we gave the Khazad Stone back to King Thorin a few months ago, we are now awaiting the birth of a new Durin. So make it make sense, Free Range. I love this team and I love this game, but this just it's not clicking. Okay, so he can't be Durin the Last. He can't be Durin the Seventh. He cannot be, because he could not have been born Durin reincarnate, because the Khazad Stone was not with the line of Durin. And this is the lore that was established in this game as fan fiction. This is what we were given, and now they're trying to say it's a different thing. So that's my big beef. That's my big piece. That should make sense. I know I'm over explaining. The other unfortunate realities about this is that I feel like This story is all the beats of this story. Gulrune the monster, Celebrimbor's secret workshop, Vor the Wanderer stealing our stuff, Vor the Wanderer ending up being Durin the Last. It feels like, let's see, what's that? 1, 2, 3, I'll say 4. 4 story beats that come out of nowhere, that have no basis, that have no connection. Oh, sorry, 5. The Gundabad orcs that are now here, drawn by the power of the ring that Durin the Last allegedly just destroyed, right? So we already have orcs from Gundabad. First of all, how are these guys different? Have them come from somewhere else, or have some kind of reason why they are stronger and deadlier and have these extra effects on them than the guys we've been fighting from Gundabad the whole time. So Gundabad, real place, real lore, orc stronghold, all real, all accurate, all canon. But why are they here? Where did they come? They literally serve no purpose. They don't have a chieftain for us to take out. There's no point in them. They show up twice. You fight them twice in Celebrimbor's secret thing, and then they kind of wander. They're kind of the new bad guys that wander around in Khazad-dûm in different areas. So they might pop up in the Dworodelph, they might pop up in the mines. Although I have seen notations that maybe they're not doing that anymore due to some updates to the DLC. But like, why? Why more orcs from Gundabad? They don't even mean anything, they don't do anything. Why Gulrune? Why this random monster that has no origin, no basis, no context, no reason to exist? Why does Gulrune come out of nowhere, snatch a couple doors, we kill him, and it's over? Like, that's not a story. That's that's an event. So, like, I don't get that. Celebrimbor having a secret forge in Khazad-dûm is actually a really cool idea. I really, really like that. And, like, I'm not a storyteller. I'm not an expert in any of these things, but we're not going to do anything with that. That's not going to mean anything. That's not going to give us any insight of any kind. Like, it literally tells us nothing. It doesn't give us any it just is. Oh, and he had a secret forge. End of story. And by the way, that's where the Gundabad orcs who don't make any sense show up and fight you twice and then disappear. I don't get it. Nothing is stitched together, nothing is connected. It all just feels like it's these 5 story beats that are almost completely separate. Now, of course, War the Wanderer into Durin the Last, like, that's just an awkward transition. Like I said, they could have, I think the concept was a good one of, like, have this mysterious person show up. The problem is he can't be Durin the Last based on the lore that they have created for this game, the Khazad Stone and the reincarnation of Durin. So it just doesn't work with the lore we've already been given. But we could have had a mysterious person show up. We could have had a relationship with this person, more than just he stole our stuff, but I think that he's Durin the Last. Like, for my character to just jump those hurdles and there to be no reason or rhyme of, like, this guy's no good, we need to get him out of here, to, like, oh, have you found yourself? Like, you just stole this thing and destroyed it. It belonged to me. Oh, but have you found yourself? Like, what is the mental, emotional journey of that? So yeah, so all of that being said, I will stop. This is it, you guys. I didn't think we would finish this in one video. Thank goodness, because it's so much gameplay, so much grinding around the subject, but I didn't think we would wrap all this up as quickly as we will in one video. But that kind of goes to show that when you cut out the fluff of gameplay, which is what we play the game for, I'm not trying to say it shouldn't be there, but when you whittle it down to the actual story beats, the actual events, it doesn't make any sense to me. Again, if you guys feel differently and you're like, well, what about this? What about that? That's fine. I mean, we're talking about fan fiction. I keep saying that term because I do really want to put context around that this team is not, this is not Tolkien. It's a fan fiction, just like any other fan fiction based off of any other established fandom, literature, any other intellectual property. Fan fiction happens. That's what this game is. It is them deciding what happened after. And there's a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit of reference material that Tolkien did make about the Fourth Age, but it's a tiny little bit. Nothing is solid. No storylines are followed through. So the team didn't really have much to work with. But I love that in the original campaign, what made it so special in terms of story and lore is that everything was so tightly knit to the canon, to the original lore of Tolkien's world, to the dwarves, the history of the dwarves, characters, references, places, events, like all of that stuff was so well done and so well executed in the original version of the game, in the original campaign, because it was just references. They didn't actually have to make any of those things happen, right? It was just we're referencing the past. So you could kind of, that gave a lot of leeway, I think, to incorporate a lot of things that were accurate. But now that they had to pull the story forward from the end of the campaign, like they made up everything that happened. They made up the fact that another dragon came and took up, you know, residence. They made up the fact that, you know, these all these different orcs kind of came in here. I believe that could be lore, I'm not sure, but it makes sense in the world though, right? That like multiple orcs would take refuge in Moria and all of that. So anyways, yeah, I think that like the original game felt so good and accurate because they were just referencing a lot that was true and accurate. And now they're having to kind of make up what happens next. And I just feel like with the expansion, with the DLC, I'm going to assume, I have no idea what the behind the scenes was, and I really wish a lot of creators and players would stop assuming that they know what the motivations of the team were, what the timeline was, what is the work that they did and why. I wish people would just give a little bit of grace and say they had put so much content, like game content, into this DLC. I think so much of the focus was put on the NPCs and the function. Like they made a whole new machine to tack onto the existing machine. I think the story most likely, I assume, I don't know, probably took a backseat to all of the work that the team had to put into making the DLC a whole new gaming system with a trading post and the NPC interaction dialogues, functions, all of that stuff. It was a very big chunk. It was a very big thing for them to take on. And remember too that this is an independent studio. This is not Nintendo. This is not Square Enix. This is not From Software. This is not like this huge, you know, these guys are an independent studio and they're making this thing that they love, and it's not going to be perfect, and it's going to have its flaws and it's going to have its weaknesses. But like, I do think I'm very sad about the story, but I can imagine, I would assume that the story suffered a bit because so much work and attention and time was going into more of the functional side of things. So, okay, officially I'm done. And officially we are done with the Durin's Folk DLC expansion for The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, which, by the way, is an amazing game, which I really, really love. And as far as the expansion goes, there are so many parts and pieces that I do really enjoy about it. I always love getting more items, more building sets, more things to work with in game. These outdoor environments are stunning and beautiful, and I could just sit around and look at all of these, just the Misty Mountains, and then over in Holland, and then over in the Dimbril Dale, up here on the Tower of Durin. Beautiful stuff. The building possibilities for this area up here on the Tower of Durin, incredible. So I think that they incorporated a lot of really, really cool stuff into this DLC. This one small part of this package is the story, and I feel like the story suffers greatly for everything else good that came out of this expansion. So anyways, you guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. I'd like to thank you guys for coming back and checking out this single video. Seriously, I thought this was going to be at least 3 videos to wrap up the story, but fortunately we're going to get through it in one, so this will just be a single video tacked onto the playlist. Again, of all of the live streams that we did for Durin's Folk before this video is like the culmination of that. And with that, we are going to wrap up our time here in the Durin's Folk expansion and probably Return to Moria. This game is an incredible game. I have spent hours upon hours upon hours enjoying the gameplay. And as soon as there is another DLC released with new build items and other decorative things and whatever they have planned next, I'm sure I'm going to be very excited about. So we will be coming back to Return to Moria, of course. Thank you guys so much for bearing with me, for getting through this playlist with me, for being so patient between installments. We did it, we made it, and we're going to move on from here. So thank you all. I appreciate the heck out of you, and I will catch you guys next time. Until then, bye!